Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Harmon, and today's episode is all about a young 15-year-old girl named Heather Guerrero, who unfortunately was abducted and killed on February 13th, 2003, here in Gering, Nebraska, as she was working her newspaper route, passing out newspapers at 6 a.m. in the morning. 24-year-old Jeffrey Hessler, who worked as a security guard at the nearby airport, lived only about a block away or so from Heather Guerrero, and he's the one who drove by, abducted her, and unfortunately killed her, and dumped her body in an abandoned house about 10 miles from here. He did work at the airport as a security guard, which kind of makes this thing even worse, because someone of authority like that you would expect to trust, especially in a neighborhood. After he abducted her from his own neighborhood, he took her to a lake called Lake Minotaur. And no, it's not the same spelling as like the mythical beast or whatever, different spelling, but he took her to basically an abandoned farmhouse just north of Lake Minotaur. And that is where he unfortunately did some terrible things to her and then killed her there in the basement of the abandoned farmhouse. So the next day they found her body in the abandoned farmhouse in the basement. Apparently it was her family members that found her. So they, along with the police officers in the area, were searching for her, and they found her there. With most of these cases that I present to you, I do my best to find as much of the information, history behind each case, and that usually includes if something happened near a house or in a neighborhood. I do my best to try to locate that neighborhood or house or whatever and present it to you guys. In this particular case, all the articles I keep reading only give a general area of the neighborhood that Hessler lived along with Heather Guerrero, as they both lived in the same similar neighborhood about a block away from each other. And so all the article said was that it was a southwest neighborhood in Gering near the Scott Bluff Monument. The monument is right over there. And so I'm doing my best guess because I don't have exactly which neighborhood it was, but I think it was roughly one of these neighborhoods right across the street from the Scott Bluff National Park. As you can tell, we're very close to the national monument there. So a neighbor heard her scream and then saw a gray Nissan drive by with its headlights off. And so they kind of pieced together, the police anyway, they pieced together that whoever took her probably was driving this Nissan. They found Jeffrey Hessler, who had the same exact car. And that is when they brought him in for questioning, and he admitted to killing Heather Guerrero, abducting her from the neighborhood behind me, and ultimately killing her up there 10 miles from here at the lake. So yeah, so I'm going to do my best to find the abandoned barn house near the lake, but again, all I could find online was generic area of where it could be. So I called the police department here in Gering and was waiting for them to call me back so they could tell me exactly where it was, but at this point they haven't called me back. So alright guys, just wanted to stop at the Lake Minotaur just to show you the lake. The abandoned farmhouse where Jeffrey took Heather to is supposedly like just north of here, like maybe less than a mile or something. Heather just turned 15 the Saturday before she was abducted and killed. It's only about 3 days prior to her being abducted and killed, she turned 15. The actual airport that that Jeffrey worked at actually just passed. So many of the articles say that the Lake Minotaur here is only about 12 miles away from where she disappeared in the neighborhood, but Google Maps says it's like 20, so there's a little discrepancy there. So it's about 20 miles away or so from that. But I think I found the house, or at least the remains of the house. Also, the reports I read state that a couple of the family members found her body in the abandoned house here. But the only way they were able to do that was because the police were helping them using thermal imaging from helicopters, scouring the area. So it's not like they just happened to randomly stumble upon it by chance, because that would have been quite the miracle. So they found it with the help of the police, and then they found her body inside in the basement. When Jeffrey was first arrested for what happened, he initially denied it, but eventually confessed. And he said that after he killed her and dumped the body here in the basement, on the way back, he threw out every single thing related to her. I don't know if it was like personal effects or clothes or whatever. He just threw all of it out, like every little bit down the road as he was driving back to town. And so I think they found some more of her personal effects along the way from here back to where she was abducted from. Alright guys, so in front of me, like I said, is the remains of a house, and had like a basement. And it just seems like this could have been the house. It's basically the only abandoned house in the area. As you can tell, the lake is literally right there. This definitely is basically the basement left. So guys, even though I'm not 100%, I'm about 90% sure this was the abandoned house with the basement. So Heather was taken down in this basement, and unfortunately a lot of terrible things happened to her, and then she was killed. I just can't even fathom like her last moments, and knowing that this is where it happened, it just makes it very, very eerie. A couple of the family members and the police found her body at about 10 a.m., only about 4 hours or so from when she went missing, which honestly is pretty good. I didn't see it saying 10 a.m. the next day. It looked like it meant 10 a.m. the same day, as far as I could read on my thing. It was a 1994 Nissan Altima, a gray one is what Jeffrey Hessler was driving. Placed the same car here at the abandoned house where her body was found. Witnesses say they saw the same car. So that's kind of the main link that they had. And after all that, Jeffrey confessed. He actually admitted to a different rape, not a murder, but a different rape to another 15-year-old girl who also delivered the mail in the next town over. So he obviously had something wrong to where he was obsessed with 15-year-old girls who delivered the mail. That also was interesting. Before I go, I just wanted to mention that Jeffrey Hessler was convicted and given the death penalty for the abduction, rape, and murder of 15-year-old Heather Guerrero. And so he currently is on death row. He has tried to get off the death penalty on appeals, but so far, from last thing I read, it sounds like he's still on death row. Really sad, but interesting case. I thought I would share it with you. If you guys enjoyed and you're new around here, definitely subscribe. Any interesting crime that I find, I will probably film. So if you like that kind of stuff, any kind of crime stuff, stay tuned guys. I post Monday and Fridays, just in case you didn't know, so stay tuned for the next one. As always, my name is Harmon, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.